Welcome to the Weather Gurus podcast for this October 4th, 2022 edition. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel and donate and to support this channel anywhere you can, as we will continue to bring you the lower 48 United States weather conditions as well as world weather news as it becomes available. Today, we're going to be looking at the current surface radar and composite radar and map. And then we're going to also look at if there's any severe weather going on, as well as the tropics as well, to round off all things weather today. So first, starting off, ladies and gentlemen, we have the current surface radar map of the United States. And currently things are a lot more quieter in terms of severe weather and in terms of fire dangers or any other major hazards that may affect us. So now we have just a bunch of garden variety showers and thunderstorms, particularly in the northeast corridor and in the upper Midwest in the nation's heartland. It's been a very quiet weather pattern after Ian has exited and dissipated off the coast of the Atlantic eastern seaboard there. Now we're left with a coastal low that is bringing showers through the Delmarva Peninsula from Dover, Delaware, back into Baltimore, Maryland, up through the Susquehanna Valley and into the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, and up through the Hudson River Valley of New York State. These showers have been pesky and continuing all the day during today and tomorrow, and is also bringing much cooler temperatures. Temperatures have been stuck in the 40s and 50 degree Fahrenheit for much of New York, Pennsylvania, the D.C., and the I-95 corridor through New Jersey, and all the way down through Richmond, Virginia. And so this coastal low, this cold core low, will continue to move inland tomorrow. And then after that, a high pressure to the west of it, coming out of Chicago and the nation's heartland through I-70 corridor and the Ohio Valley, will move eastward to kick out this coastal low back out to sea finally. That will lead to warmer temperatures for the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Southeast on Thursday and Friday to end out the week. But then we have a series of cold fronts coming in, starting like Friday, Alberta Clipper-like cold systems coming in as we get into next week and the week after next. It's going to bring fall-like temperatures down. But this is good. This rain, one benefit of this rain is that it's helping out with the fall foliage. So far, the fall foliage reports have been coming from the upper Midwest, well above International Falls, Minnesota, and the Dakotas, and over toward Vermont and the Canadian border and the green white mountains of New Hampshire and Vermont. There, as they get ready for their peak next week and the week after next, their peak fall season, color foliage season, and the Appalachians as well, coming up toward the end of October from the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, Blue Ridge Mountains, all the way up through the Shenandoah Valley. Their peak is looking toward the end of the month, toward Halloween, and of course in the first week in November. So these showers are helping to enhance the tannins of the leaves, the three colors, the primary colors we know, the oranges, the reds, the yellows. So that's one benefit of the rainfall that has fallen as well. Now, we do have some showers extending, of course, with the monsoon season from El Paso, Texas, up through the I-25 corridor through Albuquerque and up through Denver, just west of Denver, and Boulder and Fort Collins, Colorado. And some showers extending, of course, in the Grand Canyon Rim country from Prescott, Verde Valley, up through Flagstaff, Arizona. These showers continue to prompt a little bit of flash flood warnings in the rim of the Grand Canyon and some of those northern Arizona counties. They have since been kind of discontinued and made just a flash flood watch. So it's not a serious emergency, but there's still heavy showers going on there as well. This is in association with a low pressure system that's moving through Baja California, some leftover moisture that's been pumped up from the one of the tropical systems there that was there for a while. I think it was Orville or Reethi or something like that it was called, but we'll look at that later. And we also have other than that, we have quiet conditions in the southeast, clear skies in the southeast and then upper Pacific Northwest. For those friends up there, temperatures have been really above average. If you want more summer-like temperatures, that's where to go. Seattle, Portland, Salem, Pendleton, Idaho, Cut Bank, Havre, Montana, and through Casper, Wyoming. Temperatures there have been running in 70s, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect summer weather for those who want to hang on to a taste of summer in the early fall here. So that's what we have going on. Like I said, according to the Storm Prediction Center today, spc.noaa.gov, there is no areas of severe concern today in the lower 48 United States. That is great news as well. No fire danger risk right now for those states that were battling wildfires. So that's great news. Now, going to the tropics, we have two areas of interest. One area just became tropical depression number 12 with 35 miles an hour winds, 30 knots. This is well west of the Cape Verde Islands. It just came off. It just was made a tropical depression 12. It was the last advisory as of 5 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. It's moving northwest at 10 knots or 12 miles an hour. Now, this has the potential to become Janet within the next 2 days here. And there's no reason why it shouldn't become Janet. It's looking very strong here. It's the first advisory on it. It just came hot off the press here. I'm looking at it right now here, and I'm going to share with you some details of it here. So the depression has some potential to become a tropical storm tonight or Wednesday. So that's tomorrow. But the system is expected to dissipate by Thursday night. So it'll be a short-lived storm, Janet. So we'll get it. It'll dissipate by Thursday night or the weekend, Friday, and then we'll move on to the K storm. Minimum central pressure is quite high. It's at 1,007 millibars. So that's what's going on there with that. And the graphic shows it, the cone graphic shows it moving northwestward at 10 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour, and accelerating in the middle of the Atlantic, just becoming a fish storm of sea interest, and dissipating by late Thursday afternoon, after being a depression Thursday afternoon. Then Thursday night it's going to dissipate over the open waters of the Atlantic. So that'll be Janet. Tropical storm Janet will dissipate, and then we'll go on to the K storm. So the K storm will be next here. I believe that's Karen. But looking up here in the K storm, we have a chance for the storm that's closer to the Windward Islands here, moving closer to Barbados, maybe about 150 miles southeast of Barbados, or the Windward Islands. It does not have a closed circulation, this area of disturbance, but it's given a 40% chance of development in 48 hours. And the National Hurricane Center, through 5 days, gives us a 70% chance of development as it moves westward. Now, a lot of models have moved this system up through the Caribbean, just as Ian has moved up through the Caribbean. And so we have to watch this one very closely here, guys. Typically, patterns in the late and beginning up to October tend to run through South Florida and then back out to sea, following the Bermuda Azores High, a ridge, or they tend to keep westward and head toward the Texas, Louisiana area. We'll have to see what happens with this system, but this could be another big one coming up here, and it will be the K name letter storm of the season in the next 5 days. So don't look for this to become anything big here until Friday, I believe. Later on this week, look for it to really look as the models get a better fix of it, of where it's going to be going. So the K name storm of this season will become Karl. Julia is the one that's coming up. That's the one I said the tropical depression 12 will become Julia, then dissipate. Tropical storm dissipate by Thursday. Then we have Karl that's coming up. That's the one I was showing you here. The disturbance here that's closer to Barbados and the Windward Islands. In 5 days, it has a 70% chance, a high chance. So probably by Thursday night, Friday, we'll be dealing with Karl, Tropical Storm Karl, in the central Caribbean Sea here, just below Jamaica, if it continues to move along this track here. In the eastern North Pacific we have Paine. Tropical Storm Paine is a little bit stronger, but this is going to be a fish storm too out here off the coast of Baja California, 100 miles to the southwest of Cabo San Lucas and Baja California. We have Tropical Storm Paine. So it's going to continue to meander, affecting the Channel Islands and Sea Islands out here in the middle of the Eastern Pacific, and become a depression by Friday, dissipating later on. So Tropical Storm Paine is going to be a storm for mariners' interest out there, and that's about it. Central North Pacific is looking good. Hawaii, you're looking absolutely fabulous out there as well. And so that's what we have going on right here. We're really looking at a really great weather pattern for the next couple of days. And like I said, as far as the tropics, guys, we're in the secondary peak of the hurricane season, which lasts for the next 2 weeks. It peaks again on the graph in around October 10th, but you have to give it another week to take effect. So between the last peak will be between October 17th and October 21st, as far as the 2 peaks of the hurricane season that we have, one in September and then the secondary little peak in October. Now, that's not to say we can't get any storms in November. We can, but they tend to be out to sea and we get closer to home, like closer east of the Bahamas and the Gulf of Mexico, and in the northwest Caribbean seas, where we tend to get closer to home, not toward Africa and the Cape Verde season, as that begins to wind down typically in November. Now, that's, there are exceptions to the rule. So that's when the peak will be coming up Monday, October 10th, Columbus Day, the secondary peak, but it takes a week for that to take effect. So by the 17th, we should be dealing with a Karl or maybe another storm coming up, maybe a after if Karl goes somewhere, then Lisa, either Karl or Lisa will become, that's the next name. So this storm here has a high chance, this disturbance here will become Karl, and this one here Janet will just be a tropical storm Janet, which will be named tomorrow probably. It's folding out here in the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. Once again, that's going to be a sea storm. Those are the two developments, and then we have one more wave after that here. If I switch over to the satellite, there's one more wave coming off Africa behind 12, tropical depression 12, should be coming off after next weekend, and that could possibly give us our next named storm as well. So keep informed, keep tuning back to the Weather Guru. We'll keep you informed with the tropics, as well as break down what's going on in the lower 48 United States as well, and continue to stay strong this week here, weather-wise or not. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening, and have a great evening or night wherever you are.